Episode 5 opens with one of the most important meetings of the season as Eamon sits down with Big Paul alongside John Gotti. Tension between their organizations is already running high because of the recent assassination attempt and the growing drug business. With federal investigators paying close attention to everyone involved, Big Paul makes his position crystal clear. He orders both sides to stop selling drugs and demands that neither crew attack the other from this point forward. The warning is meant to prevent an all-out war before law enforcement has the chance to destroy them both. Although Eamon leaves the meeting believing the situation has settled down, he quickly begins making plans behind the scenes. Back at the office, he tells Jimmy that they should continue selling drugs in secret. Since too much attention is focused on Eamon himself, he decides Jimmy should take charge of the operation instead. Before sending him out, Eamon warns him to stay cautious and directs him toward Leon in Harlem, believing he can help establish the deal without attracting unwanted attention. Meanwhile, the federal investigation takes a new direction. Polk sees an opportunity to use the corrupt officer Glenn, who has little choice but to cooperate because of the pressure already hanging over him. Polk places a wire on Glenn and comes up with a plan to make Eamon suspicious of the people closest to him. He wants Glenn to spread the idea that Eddie Breen is secretly working as a confidential informant, hoping paranoia will force Eamon into making a mistake that investigators can exploit. When trying to approach Eamon directly fails, Polk changes tactics. Instead, he orders Glenn to arrest Eddie Breen and bring him in for questioning. Glenn hesitates and asks for immunity before agreeing to move forward, showing just how dangerous the operation has become for everyone involved. At the same time, Bridget and the rest of the group receive an update about Colonel Markham. The plan is to assassinate him using a car bomb outside the consulate. Bridget immediately worries about innocent people being caught in the explosion, but Brendan dismisses those concerns without hesitation. To him, civilian casualties are simply part of the war they believe they are fighting. Jimmy and Mickey eventually meet Leon and Charlie to arrange the drug transaction. They insist they are operating independently from Eamon, hoping to make the deal more appealing. Negotiations go well at first, and it appears both sides have reached an agreement that will benefit everyone involved. That confidence disappears the moment the exchange begins. Charlie suddenly pulls out a gun, shoots Leon, and demands that Jimmy hand over both the money and the drugs. The robbery quickly turns into a violent shootout. Mickey reacts immediately by shooting Charlie, allowing him and Jimmy to escape with both the cash and the drugs before anyone else can stop them. Jimmy eventually returns home covered in blood, leaving Bridget horrified by what she sees. The failed drug deal also reaches John Gotti almost immediately. Gotti realizes Jimmy and Mickey carried out the operation without Eamon officially taking part, convincing him they acted outside his authority. Believing this creates an opportunity, Gotti heads straight to Big Paul. Gotti expects Big Paul to authorize punishment against Jimmy and Mickey, but Big Paul refuses. Rather than ordering their deaths, he decides they should be left alone to deal with the consequences of entering the drug business. His decision frustrates Gotti, who clearly wanted a stronger response, but he accepts the ruling despite his obvious disappointment. Jimmy later hands over the money to Eamon, who appreciates the successful deal but immediately points out the new danger they have created. Since Gotti now knows they are secretly selling drugs, Jimmy and Mickey have placed targets on their own backs. Eamon warns both men to stay alert because the situation has become much more dangerous than before. Elsewhere, Glenn follows through with Eddie's arrest and brings him in for questioning. At the same time, Brendan and Bridget meet an eccentric weapons supplier named Randall to purchase explosives needed for the planned bombing. Randall agrees to hand over the explosives in exchange for a large payment. But when Brendan opens the case expecting explosives, he instead finds nothing but books. The entire meeting has been a setup. Without wasting another second, Brendan shoots Randall dead. Bridget is left stunned as she realizes she has become involved in something far more ruthless than she expected. The murder makes it impossible for her to ignore just how far Brendan is willing to go. Back with the federal investigation, Eddie survives questioning and returns after Glenn attempts to continue working undercover. The plan completely falls apart when Eamon and the others discover that Glenn is wearing a wire. They immediately rip the recording device from his body before brutally beating him. To make the humiliation even worse, they urinate on him before leaving him behind, sending a clear message about what happens to anyone who betrays the organization. While all of this is happening, Gotti makes another move. His men capture Jimmy and Mickey on the street and bring them to him. Rather than killing them, Gotti surprises both men by offering them a deal. He wants them to work with him instead. Jimmy refuses the offer, and for a tense moment it seems violence is unavoidable. Eventually, Gotti allows both men to leave unharmed. Although nothing happens immediately, Gotti remains completely confident that they will eventually return. He believes the pressure surrounding Eamon, the growing danger of the drug business, and the shifting balance of power will eventually push Jimmy and Mickey toward him. The episode ends with every major storyline becoming more dangerous. Eamon's secret drug operation is now known to John Gotti. The federal investigation has failed to turn Glenn into a successful informant. Bridget has witnessed another cold-blooded murder. And Gotti has begun laying the groundwork to pull Jimmy and Mickey away from Eamon. Rather than ending with a shootout, the episode closes by setting up a dangerous power struggle where trust is disappearing, alliances are beginning to shift, and every decision from this point forward could reshape the balance between the rival organizations.